I don't really know if I'm allowed to smoke on YouTube, but I have seen it before, and I am a very small channel, so yeah, smoking a Paul Measy today. But yeah, divinity and morality, and how these two topics intersect. So, firstly, I would like for us to have the same definitions of these concepts that I'm speaking on. So, divinity is the quality of being divine, right? Or qualities that we have associated with God. You know, God being the most high, or the most high frequency. You know, that we can at least have perception of, or believe that we have perception of. Cool. Morality, I'm not using the Google definition here, but I believe morality is defined as the qualities that humans exhibit, which can be deemed moral or amoral. Moral being good, amoral being bad, generally. So the reason I find it so interesting is because there's a lot of emphasis on morality, in the world anyway, when it comes to who's a good person and who's a bad person. You know that they're one way or the other because this one person is moral and this one person is amoral, right? And then there are also these buzzwords that exist, such as divine masculinity and divine femininity, or divine masculine and divine feminine, right? Which people generally use to describe the most moral representations of this energy within the world. So the divine masculine is someone that is within their divine masculine is basically a provider, protector, generally the agreed upon archetype of what men are. The divine feminine is a nurturer, a caregiver, the general archetype of what a woman is. The reason I find this so interesting is because divinity is not moral at all, nor is it amoral. Like, divinity is just, it just is. God says, I am, and he does describe himself as good, but I believe that description was given so that us as humans could understand from our perspective what he meant by that. But this is the same divine force that flooded the world and burned villages and caused catastrophe, which is completely cool, but the reason I say that divinity is not moral is because it does not adhere to our human interpretation of morality. So when people throw around terms like divine masculine or divine feminine, what I hear is the essence of the energy without being encumbered or without being weighed down by societal expectations, right? Which is kind of contradictory, because the only way we can define masculine or feminine is through societal expectations of each energy. And this is really interesting because people will really judge you if you're an amoral person, or they deem you to be an amoral person. Everybody has their own internal compass or moral compass, but there are general agreed things which also so happen to be in the Bible. So the only reason I'm referencing the Bible so much, one, because I was raised in that kind of environment. Two, because it's one of the oldest set of rules. It's not the oldest, not by a long shot, but it's one of the oldest set of rules. And three is because I believe that most people have a general understanding of what is said in there. So things like the Ten Commandments, right? I believe the Ten Commandments were made to keep us moral, so keep us good, you know? And a lot of them boil down to just do not cause harm, and you will be seen as a good person. It will be generally agreed that you are a good person, right? So things like do not kill, do not steal, do not sleep with your neighbor's wife. You know, these are things that on a general plane of view can be seen as, okay, yeah, if you don't do those things, then sure, you're a good person. But now I extrapolate this to divinity, right? And divinity does not adhere to these standards at all. It's not for the divine, it's for us, you know, because as humans, I believe we're actually innately amoral. So we needed an external source of boundaries and rules to keep us in check. Yeah. And I've experienced a lot of judgment within my own life because what I have done or some of the things I've done have been seen as amoral, or society has deemed as like, that's wrong, like, why would you do that, you're a bad person. And then a few years later, you know, it's legal now, and now it's moral again. So my view on morality has has really shifted, just because of how fickle it really is when it comes to humans. Like, humans are fickle, so listening to rules that were created by humans is a very fickle endeavor. You know, it's not sustainable. That's one thing which I find interesting about the world. And secondly, I believe that everyone's moral compass, when someone tries to project their morality onto you, what they're really doing is that they are being peer pressured by, you know, tradition, or being peer pressured by dead people. So all cultures across the world actually have a very different moral compass. In some cultures, things can be seen as they're doing this wrong or they're doing this badly. I won't give examples, you can use your imagination. In other cultures, you know, vice versa. And it just depends on where you are on this physical plane of existence, you know. And I think it's really interesting when it comes to things like relationships or friendships, referring to morality, because you cannot remain close to an energy that directly opposes your moral compass, or even like a little bit. You can coexist for a limited amount of time, but you can't, you know, nurture that environment, and you can't grow in that environment. I'm very open to being wrong with the things that I say as well, but these are just my thoughts. And I think it's interesting because if I am to tap into my divine masculine, you know, keeping in context everything that I've said throughout this video, then by definition, my masculinity would not adhere to the morals that have been instilled by man. They would adhere to the morals that have been instilled through the divine, you know. Reading things like the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible can be seen as, oh, I'm getting these rules from, you know, the divine. And as well as divine femininity, you know. And now we're in a day and age where the energies kind of mix together within the same being. So it used to be that, you know, masculine was masculine and feminine is feminine. Now we're in a day and age where it's a lot more fluid, and I think it's always been that way, but now it's a lot more represented, let me say. Because in places like in cultures like the Xhosa culture, um, masculine and feminine have always interchanged through occurrences like the what do you call it? A matriarch, right? The matriarch can be seen as it's the feminine energy mixed with the masculine because they're the leader, the provider, the ruler, stuff like that. So I just think it's really cool. I actually think it's really cool because as soon as I stopped, adhering to what people would say is the right way to do things, my life has gotten exponentially better. I'm not saying I'm without fault. Of course, I have my own faults, but being within my divine masculine, which is exhibiting my masculine qualities without even attempting to adhere to, the morals of humans, has really improved my life so much because I don't have that pressure that can just change whenever it wants to change or whenever the majority believes that it should change. I just behave according to what I believe and according to what I think is good for the world, and things work out, And I think that women do this as well. I feel like women are a lot more, what's the word? Encouraged within their femininity to be feminine and kind of nurtured in that. The only problem comes in when it's, abused or let me say that power is unhealed. So it kind of turns into a maleficent, I believe that's the word, maleficent force or an evil force. Same can be said with the masculine, being a tyrant and not having self-awareness, stuff like that. It can be very, very dangerous. So I just want to urge whoever's watching this that whenever you're within your divinity, as we've defined in this video, whenever you're in that energy, things will go your way, but you will be seen in a different way. You might be seen in a different light. You might be seen negatively by the masses. Same with women. When you're in your energy, you might be seen negatively. You might be seen as, harmful or unhealed and stuff like that. And within these energies, there are unhealed variations, which I have not, particularly studied super in depth, but I can kind of give examples of. So I believe that when the masculine is unhealed, it leans more towards the feminine, but not the positive sides of the feminine. It leans more towards, entitlement and a kind of brattiness, if I can put it like that, which I would define as feminine. And then when the feminine is unhealed, it leans towards the negative sides of the masculine, which is the overbearing or the tyrannical or the, destructively egotistical, those energies. I think that whenever people exhibit those energies, that they're simply unhealed within their masculine or feminine frame. And a lot can be gained from self-introspection and from taking your experiences and then trying to do better for yourself, but also for the people that will experience you. People that like to be around the healed masculine or the healed feminine, there's a frequency alignment there. There is genuinely a frequency alignment of feelings, thoughts, and emotions, where you can feel safe to exhibit your own energy. This is why single mothers are how they are, or single fathers are how they are. It's because they have to play both roles, and then they have to heal within both energies. So it can manifest in a lot of different ways, but generally, it's, it just is what it is. Now, I'm gonna take it back to morality, right? Because at the end of the day, people are scared of being judged. So I'll kind of give you a framework on how you can be within your divinity without having to worry about the moral, being amoral or moral. So you need to have an understanding that this universe that we live in, nature, the forces that be, do not adhere to our own human moral compass. So if someone falls off a roof, there's some guys on the roof that I'm looking at right now. If someone falls off the roof and they're a good person, we all agree that they're a good person. They give back to their community. They are very selfless, and that's what people would consider moral nowadays. If they fall off the roof, the universe isn't gonna be like, wait, that's a good person. Let me change the rules so that they are saved. No, it just is what it is. So when you're in your divinity, you cannot worry about the morals of humans. You cannot. As soon as you do, you stop being in your divinity. You stop operating on that frequency because your emotions are no longer aligned with the actual laws of the universe. And when your emotions aren't aligned with the actual laws of the universe, you can't be in divinity, because in order to be in divinity, it's a state of emotion. And emotion is energy in motion. Energy in motion is a frequency. And you hear about people operating on certain frequencies and stuff like that. But you cannot operate on that frequency if you continue to let the world define what you should be like. That's number one, right? Secondly, you need to understand that when you're in your divinity, you will be judged, you will be ostracized, you will be ridiculed, you will be heckled. This world will not view you in a positive light at first, just because you're not adhering to the rules that everybody has to adhere by. And people get offended, people get scared when someone else does that, because it means, you're different than me. When people are different from each other, they feel like you're enemies until I understand you. And I'm making this video because I feel like you've probably already felt this way, and you probably already have had these thoughts. I want you to know you're not alone, Now, I'm not saying go out there and start hurting people because, that's what you feel like you want to do. You can do whatever you want, but understand that we've been given a set of laws from beyond ourselves, from beyond our time of actually being alive, that have been passed down through generations and generations, that align to keep humanity at a neutral level of, we can coexist as long as we follow these rules. So follow those rules. You know what I mean? There's a good reason you shouldn't kill. There's a good reason you shouldn't steal. There's a good reason you shouldn't sleep with your neighbor's wife. There's a good reason you shouldn't commit adultery. There's a good reason for all these things, and people will do them anyway. But this world is purely mental. It is physically, the physical world makes up less than 10% of, everything that is out there. And the reason I say that is because we base our understanding of our physical reality through what we see, right? And that's if you can see, right? See or hear or touch, our five senses. We base our understanding of the world through that. Now, people that base things over what they see, specifically seeing, visible light makes up, I believe, less than 5% of the full electromagnetic spectrum. which means that there are frequencies that we cannot see and that we cannot operate on if we only operate based off of what we visually see. Now, people go through their entire lives basing their entire existence on everything that they see, right? Which means that they are operating throughout life on less than 5% of what is actually out there, what actually exists. Yeah, and what that means is that you're missing out. You're missing out on the divine frequencies that are there for you to achieve your desired reality. And achieving your desired reality is actually a lot simpler than people would want you to believe, because if everybody knew how to do that, then you would not have a society that's easily controlled. But that's a topic for another video. I just wanted to dissect dissect morality and divinity. I hope I did that for you in this video. I hope anything that I've said has sparked at least a thought within you. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your time. Yeah, please stay safe and take care of each other. Cool. Bye-bye.